we could actually start the kind of speaking test of the first certificate in English. Just trying to give you an idea of what is a speaking test. So they, of course, they start to speak and ask you some question, and you should reply in a correct way, correct language. Doesn't matter the accent, but it's important that the pronunciation is correct, not the accent. You know, they are two very different things. And if your pronunciation is correct and they can understand you, that's fine. But for you, I mean, I say anyway, but for you, that's not a problem because your accent is quite good and pronunciation as well. And so we can, I have a list of some questions that they can, or some topics we can discuss. For example, and then this is supposed to be done in 3 people.
Okay.
That is the examiner and then 2 people speaking. But actually we can even do 1 by 1, and then if they are join us, the other people, we are going to put them together in the conversation. So let's try to speak, for example, about one of the subjects that could be history.
Okay.
So my question for you today is, what do you think makes a good museum?
No. I lost something, I think.
What do you think makes a good museum?
Oh, whoa.
Of course, they are not
Well,
question like, you know, what is your hobby? It's something more you have to think a bit about, but let's start to take your time and think, for example, of, I don't know, I can give you, you know, just to start to take time, there are some tricks like, good question. I don't really know because I never found a museum I liked, for example. But if there was one not boring, that could be a good start. Maybe a good museum has to be interactive and so on. Okay.
Okay. Well, really, from an university exams, I designed a museum, but it's a special museum because it's a we thought about a digital museum. And then we realized the space, a digital space online, similar as a website. And
you mean a website where you can walk in it and move inside?
Yeah, something like this. Depend on the opera that you can see. So if we are talking about painting or it's difficult because it was about digital arts, so there were sounds and movie.
Okay.
So it's a special museum. But about the generic museum, I think that is important. It's important to catalog very well heavy items.
Okay.
And go deep about the history and the functionality about the items or the what they want to tell us with a painting or other.
Okay, but I think you were speaking for about 2 minutes, so that's the average you should keep in speaking. Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, do you think that learning about our past is important for our future?
Yeah, sure. It's a typical phrase, and it's sure is important because the history is a cycle.
Okay.
So a lot of events we can find again a lot of historical event. So we can know how we behave.
Okay, how we can behave.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, let's try not to let the conversation fall. Because the interviewer probably is asking you something else, and even the other person, but you should not remain without words. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, what was, according to you, the most important moment in history of the 20th century? Okay, you got time to think, because now we got Virginia coming.
Okay.
And join us. Okay, so are you thinking about the question I just asked you?
Yeah. I think probably the Second World War.
The Second World War, okay.
Probably is the most important.
Yeah, you have to tell me why.
Yeah. First of all, because it's a world event.
Okay.
And all folks are interested.
Okay.
And I think it is an event that brought
okay.
brought a lot of change.
Yeah, it was bringing changes all around the world, in the whole world. Virginia, can you hear us? Can you listen to us? So she's waiting. We cannot listen to you because it seems you got the microphone that is not on. Not the video nor the microphone. So, I don't know. No. Okay, I'm telling her that she doesn't have the microphone on. Okay, let's go back to our in the 20th century. Okay, what do you think? Do you think there's another event that you can actually remember, and you think that it has been a very important moment in history? So, of course, you cannot remember the Second World War because you weren't born yet. But Which one do you actually remember? Even if it wasn't maybe so important as this one, but something that you remember besides this actual moment, that is another very important historical moment, I think.
I don't know.
For example, in 1989, when the Berlin Wall was
Oh, okay. Yeah.
destroyed.
I was very young because
Oh,
I have 6.
You were 6. You were 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can remember very well that event.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it is another important event in 20th century.
No, listen. Okay. Let me go on. And what has been the most important moment in your life so far? That's interesting.
Oh, probably when I went to live alone.
Oh yes. At what age?
I was 33, probably.
33?
No, 35, yeah.
35? You were 35. You are now 35. How could it be 35 when...
Now I'm 37.
You're 37.
Almost 30, 37, yeah, in May.
Yes, but you were going out from your home.
No, before, yeah, when I was 22.
22.
Yeah, I went out of home, and
Yes.
but not alone.
Oh, I see. Not alone. Yes, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. And now, and there are how long are you living by yourself for?
2 years and a half.
Okay. And do you think your life has changed since so far? Okay.
I think not so far, but it was an important step.
An important step, an important event, yes.
Yeah.
So let's see if Virginia is trying to connect in again. Yeah. But I don't see the microphone with there. Oh yes, now I see it. Unmute. Okay, okay, Virginia, now we listen to you.
And I listen to you too.
Do you listen to us? Hi, we are, and can you see us?
I can see you. Yes.
Okay, you got the video is off. Your video is off.
Ah, okay. I think you can hear me if the video is off. It's possible? Is it possible?
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. You think that we can listen to you without watching? That's okay.
Yeah, without watching.
Oh, yes, that's no problem.
I can see to you.
Yeah, no problem. It's important that because I see the microphone, if the microphone, until the microphone is on, we can see it, okay? And Virginia, we were just discussing about history, actually. We were, now that could even ask what I was asking to Matteo before, and I already know his opinion, but now I'm going to ask you the same, and you will try to get Matteo involved in the conversation, okay?
Okay.
For example, the first question that I was asking Matteo is, what do you think makes a good museum?
What do you think make a good museum?
Yes.
Yeah. And what did Matteo say?
What did Matteo say? Can you
Well,
do the resume of, besides the part that you are planning a museum, a virtual museum, but what you said about, according to you, it's important in a good museum. And then let's see if Virginia agrees.
Yeah, I said that I think it's important that they have to catalog very well all items and be aware about the functionality or the story that each item want to tell us.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think there's anything else, Virginia, that is important?
I think the thing Matteo said are very important, and I think that if the affabulation, the storytelling for each item is cared. If the museum shows the material and tell the use in the ambient, in the moment, and the importance in daily life for person. It's involving.
Okay. So basically, you say that each object, each item that is representative has to tell a story to the public.
Yes.
And that is clear.
And if technologies are used for this purpose, the museum is rich.
So you think of an interactive museum?
An interactive museum, even in if there are all stories, all the elements, or artistic elements, or scientific elements. The interaction can make people involved and experiencing the element presented.
Okay, so do you think of any, not just museum, but even exhibition, because sometimes there are more exhibition in museums or in other places, but very interesting exhibition like the one that you were mentioning that had more or less these features, and so they were interesting for you. Do you remember any, Matteo or Virginia? Any of you?
For example, I remember the Van Gogh experience.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us about it?
Yes. It was in Florence, in an old church, and all the walls, all the architectonic elements were used to be the plane of projecting pictures.
You mean a screen? They were used as a screen. Okay, okay.
And there were music and voices and writings that were telling us the various elements of each. I don't remember the term for quadro.
Picture.
Picture.
Much easier than you think.
Yeah. And it was very coinvolgente.
Yeah, involving. You were using this word before. Yeah, involving.
We were emotionally involved.
Involved, yes. And do you remember anything similar, Matteo, that you experienced in your life?
Yes, but despite what I said before about the digital museum
yes,
and so on, I think that in this time often the museum manager abuse about it.
Ah, okay.
So the museum that I remember with a nice feeling is the home museum of
where
the name is the most famous painter, Mexican painter. I don't remember the name now, but it's a woman.
Frida Kahlo.
Ah, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I visited the home museum, and it is incredible because you can stay inside the
picture,
inside her life.
So, you can feel the daily life of the artist.
Yeah. Yeah, it is I think it's the feelings that the management of the museum try to create for their visitors, but it is different if it's digital and a remake or is a true environment.
I think so. I remember now in Rome and near Piazza Venezia.
Yes.
Under Palazzo, I don't remember the name. There are some Roman houses, and Piero
Palazzo
Angela,
Valentini.
Palazzo Valentini,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And Piero Angela presents in this site the rebuilding of the daily life, and it was very
Of ancient Rome.
Of ancient Rome, yes.
Oh, I see.
And it was very interesting because there were the spaces, and by technology they can put us in the colors, in the daily objects. It was very interesting. Yes, technology can be used in different ways. They can abuse of it, but they can use it to make the experience more
Lively.
lively. Yes.
Yes, but what do you both mean when you think of abusing in the use of technology? In this case, I mean, in exhibition, museums, and so on.
Well, when the for me, it's when an exhibition is created just on the digital digital opera, but there aren't a real opera inside.
Okay.
When there is only the technology and there are no objects.
Yeah, it is a virtual exhibition in a real space. It's strange.
That you can also follow at home. I mean, what do you?
Yeah.
Yes, but don't you think that sometimes even the abuse you were talking about is about putting in an exhibition that probably doesn't need a certain use of I don't know, video or audio. They just use it because they have to accomplish to some requests they made by the, I don't know, by the target, by the public, or by the people that are paying for the exhibition to set. So probably the abuse is just try to get some technology anyway, even if it's not necessary. Do you agree that could be an abuse of technology in this case?
I think it's more difficult to find something like that because it's always a cost. Add something more, no? So
you think they're using technology because they don't have anything else to offer, anything else to show?
Yes. Or it's just when you visit an exhibition that is it has a lot of
Hi, Marta.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I had some problem with my Wi-Fi. I'm sorry.
No problem, darling. We were talking about something very interesting at the moment because we were starting to talk about history and museums, what is making a good museum, and now we are getting to the point we all that's Matteo, Virginia, that you probably know, and me, of course. Hello.
Hi, Marta.
Yes. Hi, Marta. And so we were discussing that sometimes in museums and even in exhibition, they many often now use some technology as some digital devices to to see the exhibition. And we were discussing, Matteo, were just thinking that sometimes the technology isn't so necessary or is abused. He used the word abused because probably, Matteo, you were I was just interrupting you, so you can let's go on with this theory that you have. Very interesting.
I don't remember where I was, but
yes, you were starting telling that sometimes you think that they abuse in technology because they don't have anything properly to show in the exhibition or in the museum. And so that's why they use this technology, because they don't have any relics to show, probably.
Yeah, I think it's the same when you go to visit an exhibition with just the one important opera, and the other items. Yeah.
So an exhibition
is
is
not
just
relevant.
for one, yes, just for one item, one picture or one sculpture. Okay. Marta, do you, besides this thing that I want to know your idea about it, but do you remember any exhibition or any museum that has been memorable for you? And if so, we want to know why.
Yes, of course. Like, I saw lots of museums in my life, but I don't really have a favorite one, but one that I really liked was one that I saw in England, in Bournemouth.
Yes.
It was this museum, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, but it was made into a Victorian house. And it was full of paintings, but all like paintings from the Romanticism period or from the Decadentist period. And like that is my absolutely favorite period in art history. So I think that was my favorite. Also, what I really liked about that museum is that it was really, really full of paintings. Like there were lots and lots. Also, the location was very, very beautiful because it was this giant house in front of the sea.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else do I have to say. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And what about your idea about technology used in museums and in exhibitions?
And honestly, I think it's really useful, especially for younger people, to understand like all the various operas. Like for me, when I go into an exhibition, I don't really care about the technological part, but I see why it's useful.
Okay.
Like in some cases, it's very, very clever how it's made. Like in the exhibition that was in Rome about Frida Kahlo. Honestly,
the same that the same that Matteo was just mentioning.
I think that in that case it was very, very clever. But in some cases it's like unnecessary, but I see why they are putting in there the technology.
Okay.
Also, one other exhibition that I think like the technology was really well used was an exhibition that was in Rome like some years ago about Monet. And like there were like interactive paintings, and also you could work on the lilies, and it was very, very pretty.
Good. Listen, Lolly, I think that this kind of meeting is not going to cut because we didn't see any advice of cutting after 42. If it's cutting, I'm going to open it again. But
Okay.
I didn't receive because, you know, sometimes they permit us to get a longer meeting if we are not a lot of people. But sometimes they just cut it. So at the moment, I think we can go on. What I wanted to do, because Marta, we were trying to make a kind of trial of the speaking test of the first certificate in English. And this is one of the subjects that sometimes is getting to be proposed to the students, and they are asked to speak together and discuss together the one subject that is not a subject like I will say what is your hobby, but is subject like this. I mean, you have to be prepared about things. Even if you don't know anything, you could even have an idea of what, for example, I don't like museum, I never go to museum, but I think it could be a good things for young people and so on. Now I wanted to propose you something different, and I want to share some pictures with you.
Okay.
Okay, now you should see it.
Yes.
Okay. I put your all the you here. No. Okay. So now do you see two pictures? Can you tell us something about Marta?
Okay, so these pictures are both about travels. In one, there are two people that are traveling in the nature, and in the second one, there are two people that are traveling in a city. These two types of travels or of vacation are really different because in the first one, like if you go on a vacation like that, it's because you want to like feel isolated from the not really from the society, but like from the people, because you just wanna see the nature, stay with yourself, but in the second one you wanna mostly know more about a place, so you just go and visit a big city.
When you say
monuments.
one, you say on the right or left? Because you were mentioning in picture 1 and 2 that there's no number, so you should say
sorry.
Yeah, the position. So right picture,
left
picture.
The left picture is the picture 1, and the right picture is picture 2.
Yeah, okay. It's important that you gave a correct location. Okay, let's go on. Oh, okay. They are asking now. I see the starting is they start the countdown. You can see the countdown. Everybody 8 minutes and so in these 8 minutes, a couple of minutes each to discuss, to tell me something more about these two pictures, even speculation in this case, and then we close this room and I open another room and I show you other pictures. Now we just speak about this. Virginia, what would you tell about something more that Marta didn't mention?
The left picture remember me a film. Thelma and Louise.
I think he is. I think he is. Yeah.
And I would like to be there now and to can see with my eyes far and far and far away. And the second picture, it seems to me they are going to a concert, and it can make me dreaming too.
Okay, so you're just actually what you did instead of describing is speculating. and you're giving your impressions. That is a very important part of the describing pictures. What about you? What you can add that we didn't say yet, Matteo?
Well, I think that they are two different special places, just for nature and environment. Also in the city, because I think it's Venice.
Should be,
in the
yes.
background.
Yeah, from the.
So it is a special
power.
place, is a special natural place about the level of the water, and I think in the picture on the left side, we are watching the Monument Valley or Grand Canyon, something like that.
Probably. Yes,
so
probably.
Two special places.
Two special places in the world. Okay, so let's now close this one. And when we're going to open again next room, I will ask you to make description of some pictures. Each one of you will be different. And you should speak for at least a couple of minutes, and then you should make questions on the pictures to the other two people. Okay?
Okay.
Did you get it?
Okay.
Okay, so
Yes.
I close this room and I immediately open the second one. Be ready for this second part, and I stop it. Okay.
We leave.
We leave for the moment,
Yes.
and we open a new room, completely the same, but we have to
Okay.
leave because we have a time limit. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.